from 65. I've been here 21 years. My wife and I, when we came here, we had the idea of working around Australia. And I got to Newman and that was me. Once the red dirt got me on buggered, mate, I tell you. My dad served in North Africa and Italy and Egypt, and he was a hero in my eyes, and I wanted to be like him. So I joined the army, this was in the Vietnam period, joined the army at 17 and a half. I was due to go up to Vietnam in 1971. In November, the Kiwis pulled out. So I had to stay and finish my 2-year tour of duty in Malaya. When I got home after finishing the army, I met my beautiful wife, and a year later I married Ada. The problem was that even though we loved each other, I had a beautiful family, we had 3 children together, I loved the pub more. I was addicted to alcohol. And she finally took off after 10 years. She said, "I've had enough of you." She was no fool. I lasted 2 months and I drank myself into a position of stillness. And I did 3 years of rehab. I got out of the hospital and stayed sober. There was a mate in the army who was telling me he used to work in Western Australia and he worked in the mining. And he said, "It's just brilliant." He says, I said, "But I don't know how to work all that gear." He says, "Well, just tell them you do and they're not going to send you back." So I didn't have the courage to do that. Got over to Perth. I was 3 weeks without work. I built a house and then I got them over here on a holiday and I said, "What about us getting back together?" And she'd been watching me for a couple of years to see if I was going to stay sober, and I did. And she came up to Newman and got a job up here as a social worker, and I started a handyman business. So that's how we got here, and then we became part of Newman. I was hanging washing on the line and Ada was on her way over here and I had a roast cooking in the bloody oven. And anyway, I'm hanging out washing and this cop car drives up with 2 sergeants in there, old friends of mine. They said, "We've got some bad news for you, Polly." And I said, "Who's died?" They said, "Ada." Teresa, my daughter, she wasn't handling losing her mum because we were a very close family. So she jumped in the car and drove over to the crash site. So she's parked there and talking to her mum, and there's trucks going past and mining vehicles and stuff. And anyway, this mining vehicle slowed up and stopped. But this black African guy got out of the car and walked over to her and he says, "Did you know these people?" And she said, "That was my mum." And he said, "I was one of the first cars here." He says, "I was with your mum when she died." She had his head in his lap, on the hard ground. Now, that guy was going to a job, and this is what, 3-4 months later, and he just happened to be driving past when Teresa was there. And do you know what that fella's name was? Gabriel, the Archangel Gabriel. And I mean, if you can't see the significance in that, it was amazing. Ada died in 2013. I'm doing okay. I'm doing a bit of handyman work and removing graffiti for the Shire, and I'm living here. A friend of mine, his wife, was running the ice cream van and he got a promotion over to Port Hedland, and of course she went with him and we settled on an agreed price. And I didn't know, I wasn't sure about it, but I thought, well, I'm going to give it a go. Having Ole Grandad's ice creams would be the sweetest thing that I've ever done in my life. It's just the little kids and even the big kids, they're different in the Pilbara. You know, they play on the streets, they play like we used to do when we were kids, and they've got confidence. They're more relaxed, they're friendly, they're easygoing, and they've got good manners. If people haven't got money, well, pay me some other time. And they do, most people pay me. But I defy you to drive past these tiny little kids and they're standing playing out in the front yard, and I stop and I say, come over, Grandad will give you a little ice cream, you know, and it's cost of a cone and a little daub of ice cream on it, you know, and they're happy, and yeah, it just warms my heart. I want to be a good memory in the children as they grow up, long after I'm gone. BHP get me to go out to their shutdown sometimes. You know, these big tough miners come walking up and they say, well, I haven't seen one of these since I was a kid. And they'd say, who's paying for this? And I said, BHP are paying for it, and you say thank you to them. Yeah, right. And then I said, what would you like? And he said, I'll have a single cone, chocolate and sprinkles. And this big tough miners said, geez, they crack me up. They're brilliant. You know? After I had my heart operation, my kidneys failed. So the specialist put me on hemodialysis. They trained me to use the dialysis machine. I dialysed myself. I put needles in my arms and connect the lines to the dialysis machine there. And I do it every second night while I sleep. One of the problems with dialysis is that you get tired very easily. I'm forced, okay, I've got to get out with the ice cream machine. So I've got an incentive to get up and get going. How lucky am I that I can do my own dialysis? I'm not attached to a hospital. That's why I'm the luckiest man in the world. Do you know what it's about? It's about friends. The town has given me a belonging. It's the stuff that happens in the bush in a community that extends and it guides our lives. I will stay here till I'm dead. I'll be buried here. I just want to make it easy for my friends so they don't have to go far. And that's about it, mate.